Hi, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Finally, we have solved the problem. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on listening and identifying opinion and attitude. I am Alicia Banfield of Banfield's Professional Medical English, and otherwise known as promedicalenglish.com or just Pro Medical English. And today we're going to have a little back and forth. We are going to look specifically at one point, which is identifying opinion and attitude, which a lot of people have problems with. But then we're just going to open the floor and we're going to listen to issues that you have with opinion and attitude. And then we're going to tell you about a little little event that we have coming up. It is a free, 100% free, no obligation event that you can register for and kind of build on what we do here in this session. And that session that's coming up next week, it is not just a webinar, it's actually a live class where you are in the classroom with me. You can speak to me, you can speak with other students, other candidates, and so on. Okay. Alrighty, so let us get going now. First of all, I love to greet everybody who is joining. It's just a bad habit of mine. So hello, Nitus from India. Hello, Chioma from Nigeria. Chioma, I know you've been with us before. Sorry about that delay at the very beginning, but we're up and we're running now. Chepo from Botswana, welcome, welcome. We have somebody else also from Zambia, Stanley. But where else do we have people from? So as you come in, just say hi, greet me, and let's get into today's webinar. Okay, so I'm going to do a little screen share here. And then once the screen share is up, then we can get going. Screen share. Let's share the window that we want to share is this wonderful window here. Great. And then I can see what's going on. And there we have it. So now you should be seeing my window. Okay, and people are rolling in all the time. We have got Prabjot from Punjab, welcome. Aisha from Nepal. We have Nazma from Kuwait, and we have Marco from Italy. Hi, Marco. How you're doing? We have Lanra from Poland. Oh, wow. That is quite a way. I actually live permanently in Germany, so I'm supposed to be a little closer to you, Lanra. The other thing I should mention, this isn't a technical glitch, this is just a product of technology. There is a delay, and I think it's about a minute between what I say, or at least half a minute between what I say and what pops up on the screen. So if I pause, it's not because anything is wrong, it's simply because of a delay in the feed. Okay, people are coming in still. We've got Moin from Iran, we've got Sefa from Leeds, and Kolawole from Germany. Hello, or I should say Olu. Hello, Olu. Keep Germany warm for me. I'm hoping to see it soon. And we have Esse from Turkey. I'm probably pronouncing it incorrectly, but never mind. Please forgive me. Okay. So I see already people are asking questions about scores. That is quite okay. What I will say, everyone, is let's just get through this first part. Then I'm going to open the floor and you can ask me anything. About the listening, I'm going to prioritize because that is today's main topic, but you can ask me anything about any part of the OET that you want to. Okay? So, To give respect to those who signed on for today's topic, let's start talking about the OET Listening C and identifying opinion and attitude. Okay. So I like to call identifying opinion and attitude, as well as things like inference and what's not, reading between the lines. Okay. But of course, we're doing it with listening, not with actual reading. Although you will find that a lot of the same issues that come up today for identifying opinion and attitude in listening actually also apply to reading. Okay. The other thing is, if anyone has any problems hearing me, just let me know. My system tells me that everything is okay. No, it's not correct. You know what? Send me a WhatsApp. I'm talking to Esse from Turkey. Um, I know I butchered your name, didn't I? Send me a WhatsApp and tell me how to pronounce it. You can just go on our website, promedicalenglish.com, click on the WhatsApp and send us a message. We do answer. Okay. So just apologize then if I'll just call you E. I apologize, E. When we come to the quiz section, I'll just call you E when I read out your answers. Okay. So reading between the lines for listening to identify opinion and attitude is what we're going to be doing today. So at the beginning, I mentioned this free event that's coming up. It is on the 3rd of April. It is called Listening Camp, and it's an 80-minute class. And for Listening Camp, what we're going to be doing is identifying common issues that people have in their listening skills and in the OET listening paper. We're going to look at tackling different aspects of listening to different kinds of speakers. And we're actually going to do a little exercise to kind of put those theories and instructions to the test. So we're going to listen to some excerpts, healthcare excerpts with different accents and topics. We're going to do an exercise, and we're going to link what we do back to the OET listening subtest, so you leave with more ideas of how you can improve your reading. Now it's 80 minutes, so we're not going to be teaching you everything you need to know, but we're going to give you some good solid tips to get you on your way. Okay, so you can go over to promedicalenglish.com. We have a ticker tape at the top, and if you click on it, you're going to see in the ticker tape running across the top, you're going to see the link to the registration. If you don't see it or something happens, it's not working, just go to the WhatsApp icon and just click on it and send us a message, and you definitely will get the link to the class then. Okay. In case you're wondering who we are Banfield's Professional Medical English. I'm Alicia, the lead tutor, and we are endorsed by official OET. We are premium preparation providers. That's not premium in price, that's premium in training and understanding of the test and how to help people prepare for it. And we do 360 OET preparation. By that, we mean everything. If you want the tutoring from beginning to end, we do that. Or if you have very specific needs, we do that. And we have a range of courses targeted to people with different needs. Okay? So let's get back to opinion, attitude, and reading between the lines. So at this point, I'm going to pause just a little, and I'm going to ask you to write down in the chat what issues you have with listening, yes, but identifying opinion and attitude specifically. Do you have specific problems with identifying opinion and attitude, or any other kind of issue in listening? So I'm going to pause. There's nothing wrong with your feed. There's just a slight pause between you're seeing on the screen and what I'm saying because of the connection and the streaming. But lots of people have problems with listening. Sometimes it's identifying opinion and attitude. A common problem, for example, is inference or just understanding the gist. Remember, in things like identifying opinion and attitude, it's not just about like the listening part A, where you're trying to find one word. Okay, we're talking about a broader understanding of the language. Um, uh, Kube Kubendiran said you can't get the correct answer in part C. So for I'll just shorten it to Kube if that's okay with you. So Kube, your focus is understanding which option to kind of strike out and which one to be left with. Olu said easy loss of attention. Olu, you're not alone actually, especially if you are having to listen to a language that is not your native language. We call it L1. It's not your L1. And you're listening and listening for the longest time, and the questions are getting more and more challenging. Yeah, you lose attention, you get distracted by the questions themselves. I'm going to touch a little bit on that later. Difficulty to identify distractions in the answer option. Deepu, another very common problem. Lanra says it's a long dialogue and it's hard to stay focused. Yeah, again, what Olu echoed. Hi, Dr. Morgie. Hope Zambia is treating you well. And Moine said, knowing when directly mention in audio and when you should infer. Yeah. Inference, I would say honestly, even for a native English speaker, inference is the biggest challenge. Even as a tutor, even as a medic reading, accustomed to reading medical stuff. And being a native English speaker, I still find overall inference questions to be the most challenging. Okay, so we've noticed already a kind of repetition in the theme, staying focused, understanding what to rule out. And I would say that one of the main reasons, or the umbrella reason why opinion and attitude is sometimes hard to identify, is because too often people are just looking at the words themselves, individual words, or the order of the words. But in truth, broader understanding of language, of meaning, opinion and attitude, and otherwise. But today we're focusing on opinion and attitude. That broader understanding comes not just from the individual words, but also intonation. Okay, that is the up and down rhythm and cadence of how people actually speak in English, especially native English speakers. This can be a challenge sometimes for those who naturally have a very flat tone, even in their native L1 language, or for languages where perhaps tone does not play as much of a role as the actual words. But in English, tone and stress give a lot of meaning to what you're saying. And that is why stress on certain words and phrases also is part of opinion and attitude. Okay, so all these three things come together. So when you're listening, when you're practicing, you're straining your ears to listen. You're not just listening to the words, but you're listening to how the words are said and how they are stressed. Okay, so let us look at some of the common or obvious language that we know already, that is associated with opinion and attitude. So some of the most common ones, I think, in my opinion, those are explicit. Can you think of any other ways that someone could express their opinion or their attitude? Type it in the box, okay? And to those of you who are writing in about general things, don't worry, I'm going to scroll back up once the presentation is finished, and I am going to address some of your concerns, okay? Even someone here who is panicking, saying that they are so worried about their listening. Well, if your exam is on the 6th, you can pop in Kube, you can pop into our free event on the 3rd, and get some tips. Okay, so E, you see what I did there, E? Because I know I'm pronouncing your name wrong. So E says, from my perspective, correct. In my view, yes. Nita says, I agree. So you can say, like, I agree with the point of view that shows a very positive attitude. Adu says that you think the listening is the easiest module. Good for you, Adu. I mean, that's good. But there are those, everyone's different. There are those who really struggle, especially if they're not surrounded by the language every day. I find that those who struggle the most are those who don't actually live in an English speaking environment every single day. As far as I'm concerned, yes. Um, lying, lying, lying. Okay. As far as I'm concerned, I believe in my own view, from my point of view, or it might be, or it could be. Exactly. Or Joel mentioned giving positive and negatives of a scenario. Exactly. Okay. So I think, in my opinion, in my point of view, or in my view, okay, I believe, my concern or worry is, or I am pleased that. Okay. Um, Samron, you wouldn't usually say according to me. How you might say that a little bit more naturally in English is I've always said, or I usually say. It means the same as according to me, but we tend not to say according to me. We tend to say according to Dr. Smith or according to the medical journal, but we don't usually say according to me. But we will say I always say, or I have always said. Okay? Right. So I think, in my opinion, I believe, my concern or my worry is, and here, what you're doing actually is recognizing vocabulary. Okay? You're looking for those words that are almost word for word rephrased from opinion. Opinion thought, opinion view, opinion belief. Okay? Attitude concern, attitude worry, attitude to be pleased. However, we want to move you beyond that and get you recognizing vocabulary, intonation, and stress. That's where we want to move you towards. Okay. So let's take a look at some other language and intonation, rhythm, and stress that can also indicate opinion and attitude. And the first ones are these two. Surely they could so and so, or undoubtedly this idea would. And usually in English, when words like surely and undoubtedly are said, they're said with a bit of stress, or the speaker may even slow down a bit when they say this. Surely they would consider looking at it from another point of view, or undoubtedly this idea came from observations that you may notice that they slow down a bit. And English speakers, we do that naturally. It is an unconscious way of saying, I want you to pay particular attention to this part of what I am saying. Okay. So when you hear surely they could, that sends out the message that I am thinking it. Why aren't they thinking it? So the speaker is thinking that the person they're talking about isn't doing the obvious. And that is an opinion and an attitude. Or undoubtedly. Undoubtedly is another way of saying, well, it's clear that. Okay. So then if they go on to talk about, somebody else's point of view, the inference, and here we have inference again, is that, well, it's almost obvious to me. Why isn't it obvious to someone else? Okay. Now, if you see me looking to the side, it's not because it's weird. I'm actually operating two screens, so I'm looking here directly at the screen in front of me, but your comments are to the side. So let's look at another two. It's hard to believe that. Okay. Now they may not slow down when they go, it's hard to believe that, or they may not change their tone, but they may. They say, it's hard to believe that. Again, this is another way of saying, what are they doing? What are they thinking about? Why aren't they paying attention to this? So it's hard to believe that this issue has not been addressed. Clearly, this is a negative attitude towards people who are responsible for, or a negative opinion of the people who are responsible for this issue. And yet, here's another one. And yet, despite so-and-so, they continue to. Now here, what you've got is direction and change. Okay? So, and yet, despite so-and-so, they continue to. And that then the speaker is talking about, is saying, but everything is going in this direction, and yet they're going in that direction. That is, again, an expression of opinion and attitude. Okay? But in addition to that, there are other words that are used, there's other vocabulary that is used, that can be used, besides the straight up, I call them straight up opinion words, like think and point of view and concern and worry. Adjectives. Listen for adjectives. What do I mean by adjectives? Adjectives in English are words that describe nouns, okay, or things. So they might use adjectives like unnecessary, which means the speaker thinks that what is being done is not needed. That is an opinion or attitude. Overly. From the moment someone says overly, what they're saying is, it's excessive, all of that extra is not necessary. That's an attitude. Doubtful, kind of like undoubtedly. Bothered, appreciated. Appreciated, positive word. Bothered, negative word. So adjectives as well give meaning to opinion, demonstrate attitude as well. Okay. So can you guys take this little minute and type in some other words that you have come across, or maybe you wonder if they also demonstrate opinion and attitude, and just pop them into the chat. And let's see if you can come up with a couple others. Okay. Again, let me just refresh so I can see all your comments. Right. So while you guys are waiting to put in your answers, I'm just going to scroll up a bit. I see someone here has an exam, said that they didn't get through in their exam and they think it's very tough. Don't feel alone, Siri. There are those who do struggle with listening, and you practice a minimum of 6 listening in a day. Do you mean 6 hours or 6 listening tests? Either way, that's a lot. Good for you. But just remember, and I want everyone here also to remember, your brain also benefits and learns during the pauses. So actually learn and pause is a good technique, because your brain gets a chance to consolidate what you have learned. Okay, which was surprising. So Dr. Morgie says, which was surprising, definite, opinion and attitude word. Certainly, yeah, it is certainly the case that so and so and so and so. That's an opinion. It's likely correct. Okay, so these are also words that express opinion and attitude. So don't keep your gaze so focused. But just before we end and open the floor to further discussion, another point, and I think this was brought up by a couple of people earlier on, yeah, and the other aspect of getting the right answer. So remember, in OET, you want to be able to identify opinion and attitude language, but then step B is to get the right answer. And a common challenge in getting the right answer is understanding context. Okay. Someone earlier also mentioned distractors. Okay. Please remember that the language of the options will be different. It will be restated or rephrased compared to what you hear in the audio. So yeah, you do have to have good vocabulary as well to know that this word or this group of words means the same thing as that word or that group of words. But in your reading of the question, don't just focus in on a word you recognize or a word that means the same thing as another word. Look at the context, because OET loves to just switch things up, and they will put a word like frustrated and annoying, and they'll put that word or those combinations of words in the option, but they will be associated with some other point, not the point that's in the option. So don't worry, we're going to see a little example of that. So another, what do you call it, point to remember to bear in mind is context. Pay attention to context of the options, of the question and the options. Okay. So here is a little quiz. All right. Now I know it's supposed to be listening, but sometimes people have issues with the listening and their audios and what's not. So I'm just going to make it a little easy, and instead I'm going to show you the transcript from the audio. Okay. So here's a question. What does Gary say about his training? He enjoyed getting experience of the workplace. He opted to follow less intensive course. He appreciated the support of his tutors. Now, someone earlier actually did write in the chat about appreciated as being a word associated with opinion and attitude. So here we've got our opinion and attitude words. Enjoy, opt to. Opt to is choose to. Choose to means I've got a positive attitude and desire for something. So I act to get it. So I opt to get it. And appreciate it. Okay? So here's the text, the dialogue. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes. And I want you to, now that you've read the question, you understand the opinion attitude words. What do you think the answer is? Remember, context is important as well. Okay? So while that's going on, and the feed is catching up with what we're doing here, so when you read, for those of you who said they have a problem with identifying distractors, so you found the opinion and attitude word here, enjoy. But what is it pointing towards? Enjoys what? Getting experience of the workplace. So in the text, it could be that they enjoy something else, okay? Which means this would be wrong. Maybe they mentioned something like enjoyment, but it was not in the context of experience of the workplace. Opt to, also choose to, but choose to do what? Follow a less intensive course. It could be that in the text, they opted to do something, but it had nothing to do with the course. Likewise, he appreciated, but appreciated what? The support of their tutors. So your question you're asking yourself is, okay, in the dialogue, in the audio, what is he appreciating? It could be his, help from his tutors, or it could be something else, in which case this would be wrong. Okay, so let's see the answers coming in. Adu says B. It keeps breaking the video. Sorry, Mavis. And Nitus, you're having problems with the video. I'm really sorry about that. Everything here I'm seeing and hearing correctly. So it may be an issue with your feed or the connection or something. But for the most part, everyone here is saying B, and B is absolutely correct. Okay. Also, for those of you who might be having problems with the connection, please remember that afterwards you can come back and watch the video on YouTube. Okay, so you can rewind and play it again. It's not going to be taken down, so it's not a problem. Okay. All right. Yeah. So the answer is B. Why? Because we've got the path and switch. I could have done a 2-year MSc, but that's the switch. And then he says, so I could have a life. Okay, so I could still have a life, not just could have a life, I could still have a life. So that suggested that's something he wanted. The 2-year master's is very full on. And by full on, they mean intensive. So the answer is B. Correct. So that's an example of, showing kind of opinion. Here's one more of an attitude. Of attitude. This is another one also showing attitude. As a matter of fact, it says it. What attitude was prevalent among the Ebola patients that Dr. Monroe encountered? A mistrust of medical intervention and unwillingness to come to terms with the disease, a belief that treatment was best administered within the family. Okay, now this one is a little less full of obvious words, but you've got words like mistrust, unwillingness, and belief. Okay, which are all attitude words directly. Okay, but again, what is the context? And mistrust of what? Medical intervention or something else? An unwillingness to do what? Come to terms with the disease or something else? A belief that what? Treatment was best administered in the family or something else? So here's the text. And let's see. Oops, let me refresh again. And there you guys are. Okay. So what do you think is the answer? Once this is done, we're going to open the floor then to all of your questions. So don't worry. So Adu says a mistrust of medical intervention. Does everyone agree with Adu? Does anyone have, I'm seeing your opinion. Oh, Nitus, you're saying it's not readable. Ooh, it's too small. I'm sorry. Maybe if you're on a computer, you can make it bigger on your screen. Sorry about that. The perils of screen sharing and trying to get all the information on the screen. But again, Nitus, don't worry. You can rewind and you can watch it after the fact, okay? Well, so far everyone is coming in with A, and A is the answer. Because they were fearful of what might happen to them if they were treated. So fearful of what might happen, mistrust. Okay? Mistrust. Okay? So again, to identify opinion and attitude, remember it's not just words. If you're listening to audio, it's intonation, it's stress. And the words you're listening for are not just the think, perspective, and point of view, but also adjectives, other words like certainly, undoubtedly, and language that's similar. And having identified your opinion, attitude, words, or phrases, remember, please, 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 always look at the context, okay, of the question and the options to make sure that those opinion and attitude words or phrases are actually matching the context that you want. Right? Okay. And in doing that, then you'll be able to, as we say, read between the lines. Okay? But yeah, for listening. Okay. So once again, those of you who have listening coming up, maybe in a week or 2 or 3, join us for the free, it's no obligation, OET Listening Camp. It's an 80-minute live class. It's got tips and exercises on improving listening skills. I will be the one doing the listening camp. You can talk to me. You can ask me questions. It'll be live. It's a class. It's not a webinar like here. If you've got 2 devices, you're on a computer or some sort of Android and you've got your phone, you can just scan this code here, QR code, and go straight to the registration form. Or you can go to our website in the ticker tape and click on the link you see there and fill out the form. Or if you can't find it, honestly, just go onto the website, promedicalenglish.com. You're going to see the WhatsApp widget there. Just click on it and ask a question. Okay? And yeah, that's it for us and our offerings. So now I am going to open the floor for you to ask me questions. So I had seen people who had asked questions earlier. And okay, so let me start by addressing Sabina, who is saying a need for concentration. Yeah, what you're talking about, Sabina, is listening stamina, especially if you are living in a situation where the language is not around you every day. So those of you who are listening in English speaking and living in an English speaking environment or country, it might be a little easier for you to be listening for long periods of time because passively your brain is accustomed to it. If not, you have to do, like, who was it who said that they do 6 listening a day, like 6 listening tests? Wow, I'm blown away. I don't quite recommend 6 listening tests a day, but they do raise the point of listening regularly and listening for increasingly long periods of time. Okay? To build your listening stamina. And unfortunately, that's not something you can do over 1 day or 2 days. So in your preparation, you've got to build it in. You really do. Isa, confusion to identify. Hopefully now, with that little tip about context, you could be a little bit more on point in your reading. And Kube says his exam is on the 6th. Oh, the dramatic tears I see here. I feel your anxiety, Kube. You're not alone. You're so worried about your listening. You're getting every time other module B, but listening. Okay. Kube, that you really need to do, actually. If you can get B in everything else, what that's telling me is that your language, your structure, your vocabulary, grammar, comprehension of the actual language actually is pretty good. So why is it that listening is stumping you? That, Kube, actually, you need to look at that, because likely there is a reason why listening specifically is stumping you when clearly overall you're doing okay with language. Okay? That points to a specific listening issue. Let's see. Well, Adu says it was the easiest. Okay, Adu. Help a friend. And Siri says, oh, Siri was the one who said about 6 hours a day. Oh, I'm really impressed with you, Siri. Seriously. Okay. All right, guys. Can you please? So Papa says, can you help us with by increasing the font size? Oh, that was a frozen screen. Because I use PowerPoints because it's easy for me to use. However, when you play back the video, if you're doing it on a computer, of course, you can always zoom in, or even on your phone, you can go down to the bottom and open it up so that the screen fills up the whole frame of the phone. I'm sorry about that, guys. I think it's just a function of my PowerPoint presentation. I need to perhaps experiment with a different layout, but I'm a PowerPoint girl. I love it. I use it, for everything from private classes to uni. Okay. So please, how can you get a sample of questions to solve listening, reading, writing, and speaking? Stephen, what do you mean? Oh, Stephen, you mean free sample test. Okay, there are 2 places. You can pop over to our website, promedicalenglish.com. We've got a whole section that says free materials. It is not only practice tests, but also other practice materials that help you with what we call mini skills, like grammar, vocabulary, okay, idioms. So we have a whole page of free stuff. You can go over there. But also there are more free sample tests on OET.com. Literally, go to OET.com and type in free sample tests. And the page pops up. Okay, good. How can we improve overall in listening skills? I do register and join our free listening skills class on the 3rd of April. I'll go into it in more detail. Mavis says, if you fail one module, do you have to write all 4 modules like IELTS? Very good question. And Mavis, I will say that depends on 2 things. Who is the registration body that you want to register with? What country? And 2, what profession? In medicine, they want everything passed at the same time. In nursing, in some places, they do what you call shop results. So if you've got, in your one sitting, you got nothing less than a C+, or in certain subjects, and in another sitting, then you got the C+ or the B that you wanted, and it's within a specific period of time. I think it is 6 months. You can shop the results. They will accept those 2 within that time frame as being good enough. Okay, but check the registration requirements for the registration body or country that you want to register with. There is a whole bunch of information online coming out of the GMC, the NMC, that is for the UK, for USMLEs, that's for the US, and actually even on the NHS site, you can find information. And for Ireland as well, you can find information on which bodies will accept shopped results, and they give you the examples of what is considered an acceptable combination. If you want more details, what you can do, because I don't want to take time now to search for the links and put them in here, but you can send us a WhatsApp and I can share those links with you. Actually, another link I want to share with you where you can come in and you can ask questions is the link to the free. Sorry, I kept telling you to go to the website, but the fact of the matter is, here's the link to the free listening class. Sorry, I forgot I had saved it. There it is. I just put it in the chat. Okay. Sukhjit Kaur says, right, so a couple of people have their exam on the 20th. So all the very, very, very best of luck for you. Yeah. And from where will you get authentic listening materials? Deepa, I just shared it. I just said, go to OET.com and literally just type in free sample test. It will pop up, or you can come to our website as well. We've got a page with, let me see if I can grab it quickly and not waste time. We've got a whole page with free, it says free OET materials, but it's just free, okay? Free resources for studying. Right there as well. There you go. Okay. Right. So I've just shared the free listening class link. If you scroll down in the chat, you will see it. and also the free resources for studying that you can find on our website. Okay. Mutu, just look up in the chat and you'll see the links. Okay. All right. Good. So, any other questions today, or is that it for everyone? Yeah. To those of you who are doing your no link, please. Oh, it's not working. Okay. Hold on one second. Huh. Hold on. Okay, so I'll the shortened link isn't working. No problem. Give me 1 second here. I'll get the long link. It's easy. I was just trying to take a shortcut. Let this be a lesson to you. Do not take shortcuts. Let me just get the actual form link. And there it is. And this, and we've got the link. Okay, great. Okay. Da, 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 da. Hopefully that works now. That's the long version of the link. But if for some reason it's not picking up the link, scroll up in the chat and just copy and paste it into the URL. Come on, guys, help yourself. Copy and paste it into the URL. It takes like what? 5 seconds, and hit enter, and you're off and good to go. Okay. Siri is asking if I will take the next class. I can't remember when the next webinar is, quite frankly, but we will have more webinars coming up. Yeah. And if you want to hear more about what we're doing, again, just register for the listening class next week, Wednesday, the 3rd, whenever the 3rd of April is. And I'll be there, and yeah, you can ask me whatever questions you want. Okay? All right. So, Jeed, we answered that question about free materials, so just scroll back up in the chat. All right. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Happy practice. I say happy because learning should be fun. Although I know for most people the pressure is so much you can't even conceive of having fun. But happy, good, solid learning. Good luck to you if your OET is coming up. And if you have any questions or you're looking for any kind of specific courses, hop on over to promedicalenglish.com. And that is what we do. Anything to do with medical English, nursing English, English for healthcare communication, USMLE matching. We are a healthcare services provider, up to and including language. Well, mainly language provision. Okay, guys? So that's it. Siri is asking, where am I from? That is a question that is fraught with, with what I should say, detours. I am sitting in Taiwan. I live permanently, however, in Germany, and I am originally from Barbados, a small island in the Caribbean. Anyone who knows Rihanna or Mia Motley, that is where we come from, the same country. It is on the other side of the world from Taiwan, quite literally, and close to South America, but our native language, our only language, is English. Okay. Thank you very much, Marco. Where is it? Where is Barbados? That's a good question. It's so tiny. We're like really, really tiny. Go to South America, go across from Brazil and up. And you're going to see this chain of islands and look for Barbados. That's where we are. Yeah. Possibly one of the prettiest little islands you've ever seen in your life, which is why it is a tourist destination. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much to those of you who are doing OET soon. I'm sending out positive vibes to you. Good luck. Godspeed. Bye bye.